Hey, we're back at it again. It's Coach Ruben with 24/7 Podcast. We're here in Tucson, Arizona with Mr. Tucson Turf himself, Toby Borgay. How's it going, sir?
Good, Ruben. Thanks for coming down here, man. We appreciate you.
No problem, man. Hey, I've been anticipating doing this with you for a while now, man. I got so many questions for you that I want you to answer. So to get started, before we get started, like I said, I know when you think of Tucson Turf, a lot of people, especially in our industry, think of just 7-on-7. But you guys do have a flag football program as well, right?
Yeah, that's where it all began, actually. Our foundation is flag. It started with my oldest. He's 21, so it started when he was 5 years old. It actually, if you really want to know, it started with me in college and my wife. I coached her flag football team. We did the whole national scene when we were just in college, man. 18, 19 years old. We were traveling around the nation with Nike. I was playing and coaching her women's team. We had a co-ed team. Man, I ended up marrying the best player in the nation, and we made these beautiful kids, and they were at football games every week because I played as an adult from the time I was like 20 all the way till I was like 39 every week, so my kids were at my games. That's just part of our week. So they were raised around flag football and learning how to run and throw and catch and, all those little things and having a great time doing it. So one day we decided to take them to a national tournament with us, and they ended up taking the thing, and we've been rolling ever since, man.
Oh man, so when was the birth of Tucson Turf? If you had to.
Well, the birth. It's funny because people don't realize Tucson Turf is actually a company. That's actually my company is Tucson Turf. We do artificial lawns and we do football fields, right? Turf. Right. So we're called Tucson Turf. In 2006 is when I started the company. So we changed our name. We were called Steigers all over the nation as an adult flag football team. Okay. And we switched to Tucson Turf when I got my company. I figured, I can sponsor the team now. So I put the name Tucson Turf on it. And here we are, 15 years later, and that's people don't even realize there's a company behind it. But yeah, it was just my company. It's a small family-owned business.
Right. So when you first started, it was more of a flag program, correct?
It was just a flag program. We actually predate really the national level 7-on-7. We predate that. So back in the day, it was aired out. Nike was sponsoring flag football tournaments all over the nation. Mm-hmm. So we would take kids, my own kids. It started with my three sons, my three oldest, mm-hmm. and a couple nephews, and we would go when we played as adults. We would take them to play as kids, and then it just it slowly turned into we're taking like 10 teams, and only one of them is an adult team, and the rest are kids. Our program just grew and grew and grew.
So when did you guys really start integrating the 7-on-7?
7-on-7 happened actually when my oldest was in 7th grade. I got invited by a buddy of mine. He was putting together a junior high team, a middle school team, for a pylon event in Vegas. And we went, and they had kind of a tryout type deal, and they didn't allow 7th graders. They were like, look, we don't want any 7th graders. We're stacking an 8th grade team because it's a middle school tournament. I said, fine, I'll take my 7th graders. We'll make our own team. A few weeks later, actually, we took our 7th grade team with 9 players to Vegas, and we won the national championship against IAGA out of California. And we beat the Ducks, we beat IAGA, and that was our first tournament we ever played 7s. We went straight from flag one week to playing 7s the next, and we just took what we did in flag and just kind of led right into 7s, and everything just naturally progressed. So now our program goes from 5 years old with flag all the way up to 14U with flag football, and then we integrate 7s in the spring from 10U, 12U, middle school, 15U, and high school. So we've gone from the number one program, collectively over the years in flag, and we've kind of just taken that right into the 7s.
Okay. So a lot of people knew that I was going to do this podcast with you. So I had several coaches, players have a lot of questions. So I'm going to ask you some of these questions I'm going to ask is coming from other players and coaches and things like that. So you guys have a target on your back. Always. And correct me if I'm wrong, you guys have about 40 plus national titles. Is that correct?
We do. We call it national championships. Any national showcase that represents Hawaii and Florida and Washington, New York, and we've played in. So we played in more. Obviously, we don't win them all, but we've had some real good success at a national level through the years. Yeah, absolutely. 40. I think it's at 43.
43. Wow. Okay. So one of the questions I had is a lot of coaches notice that as far as some of your coaches that coaches, especially your 7 teams, are players themselves. And what I come to find out, a lot of them are your kids. So, and they just say how well coached they are. What gave you the courage or the idea to have them step in as coaches, and what have made them so successful at doing so?
You know, the way that I've run the program, and it's changed over the years. Obviously, it's progressed, but I've always had my kids, especially my own kids, they've worked and helped within our program to help the younger kids and bring them along. Their understanding of football, their football IQ is as high as you're going to find, as far as I'm concerned, anywhere, at any level, be it an adult, a child, and they've just had a grasp of the game. It's what I did. It's my passion. So I passed it to them. Many kids of coaches are like this. It's not just my kids, but they just have a really good sense of the game, and they have a way that we have 6 kids and we have a big family, so they're very social, and they just know how to communicate really well. So other kids look to them and know that they've done it. So it's a different, it's a little different feel on our sideline when they're talking to someone who's a few years older than them. That's been there and done that just a few years ago. So it's worked really well, and it helps the leaders develop throughout our system, knowing that we lean on them to lead, in the future. So they're our future leaders. So it works out nicely.
Oh, okay. Another thing too, I see a lot of, to me personally, and me being around the 7-on-7 world, especially in Arizona, when you say 7-on-7, the first name you think of is Tucson Turf. So a lot of kids, look at, man, I want to be on part of Tucson Turf. I want to be a part of Tucson Turf. But then I also hear Tucson Turf is not for everybody. So when you guys are looking for athletes to be a part of Tucson Turf, what are some of the key factors, or what's some of the things you got to have to be able to wear that Tucson Turf uniform?
To be a part of our organization, we are very particular. We've built it. It just was built from family. Like, that's how it started. And then we just added kids that we knew from around Tucson. Tucson's not a real big place. When it comes down to it, it's basically like a Mesa or a Gilbert or a Chandler. But that's all it is. There is no a bunch, right? So it started, the Bijan Robinsons, the Lathan Ransoms. These kids are playing D1 ball, and Mario Padillas, Terrell Hayward. They're all playing somewhere, playing ball. And we just got those kids, and we just started our team. It's not like we went out and recruited anybody. And to this day, I don't call and say, hey, will you play with us? People call, and I tell them, look, we may be a good fit and we may not be a good fit. It's just like a job. It's like any team. But we don't go and look at the top rated athletes. Our first 7-on-7 national championship in high school, we had zero kids had any stars next to their name. 0 kids had any offers. And the kids we were playing, one team had there was 20-something players. Each player had multiple D1 offers. And collaboratively, we played so well together, we were able to overcome those teams, not based on athleticism, but based on the fact that I trust you, you trust me. We face adversity, we're going to get through it. Where these other teams are made of these all-stars, but sometimes when all-stars get pressed, right, either mentally or physically, they tend to explode, and that's when you get exposed. Whereas our team got stronger, and that was all from the kids knowing each other since they were little. Right. And then now as we've grown, things have shifted. Now all the kids aren't neighborhood kids. Now we have a lot of kids from Phoenix that we've known through the years, but certain kids fit well with our system and fit well with what we do and what we represent. And other kids, and that doesn't mean we're better. We're just different. It's not for everybody. We don't curse at our kids. As a coach, you won't hear me curse. You won't hear any of my coaches curse at kids. It's not what we do. We're not that type of program. I'm not saying that we don't get upset and we don't have, tempers like anybody. Sure, that's human nature. But how we handle ourselves, and we make sure that the kids realize this is not life or death. This is not the end of the world. Whether we win today or lose today, tomorrow's still going to come. You're still going to be all right. Sometimes people lose that sense. They make it more than it is. And those are the type of parents and coaches and kids, unfortunately, they're really just not a great fit for what we do. You know what I mean? We don't practice. We get together at tournaments. If we're in Tucson, we practice a little bit, but it's not this where twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, you're coming in and you're practicing, and it's not that type of program. It's off season. It's off season football. The reality is off season football. Go have fun, make some memories with your friends, get better, right? But I'm not going to claim that I'm some super coach that's going to tell you how to flip your hips and how to run a 40. That's not my deal.
So you wouldn't say you're a training organization? Because I see a lot of these 7-on-7s have, we're training or mentoring program, and not saying anything bad against them, not at all. But what you're saying is you guys are not.
We don't. Realistically, I have literally 3 to 4 solid months with these kids. Many of them are multi-sport athletes. Realistically, and they already have first off, you're a student. you need to focus on your grades. Okay, that's the only guarantee you have of getting a scholarship. The only guarantee you have is get straight A's. Guaranteed you get a scholarship, right? Heard that from a coach when I was a kid. I've told every player that plays with us, that's how you guarantee a scholarship. You blow your knee, you still have your grades, right? So that's what we focus on. We're not trying to just make sure you're a good athlete or a good football player. And it resonates with a lot of these kids because all their whole life, a lot of these top level kids, everybody just talks about football with them. Everybody just talks football. Well, that light goes off at some point. And we all kind of say the same thing. All coaches use those kind of quotes. I can tell you the proof is in the pudding. Talk to former players. Ask them about, are we consistent with our message? And not only what we preach, but what we teach, right? Like, what is it that, and what we're doing? You know, there's a reason that we do what we do. And it's not luck. And it's not some secret. It's just the fact that we don't take ourselves too serious. We're going to have a lot of fun. Let these kids go out and enjoy their memories. And we're going to compete. And we're going to bring it. And I'm going to compete as hard as anybody that you're going to find. But at the end of the day, listen, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's great. It's awesome. But at the end of the day, man, hey, you beat us, I'll tip my hat to you. You know, don't get crazy on me. Don't try to, you know, sometimes I don't like the negative spirit that goes into this thing. You know, if it means too much to somebody and they kind of make a mockery of it, and that's silly. I just, you know, I'm kind of old school like that. You know, I beat you, shake your hand. I lose, I shake your hand. And let's move on. We're good.
Right. Okay. Definitely. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I got a couple more questions. So this one is kind of tricky. So you said you guys been around for a while and you've had several players come through your program. Okay. So not mentioning your kids, because I know the impact they have with the coaching and things like that. And I know you have several. Name me a few players that have came through your program that really left an impact, you know, and I would say not just necessarily football-wise, but just like you said, a lot of time you guys reach back to them to communicate with the kids, the parents, or anything like that. Just name me a few kids that, you know, you would say that really left an imprint on Tucson Turf Organization once they left.
Man, when you're asking that right now, in my head, if I was a movie, it'd be spinning with a bunch of kids' faces, like, you know, you don't want to leave someone out. I will say probably a kid that came onto our program when he was like, I think 10, 11 years old, was a local kid named Mario Padilla. He ended up being like Mario maybe 5'10", 5'9", running back. He's now in Louisiana playing football, went to Ole Miss. But he was just that player, man. He was just a warrior. And when you look at our program, when we battled these Spencer Rattlers of the world and these big name kids and teams, we were able to beat them because we just had a grit to us. Like, we had a chip on our shoulder, and a lot of that came from Mario. You know, he carried himself like he just had this unbelievable amount of confidence. And when you have somebody like that, people feed off of that. You know, they just really do. He's very passionate about what he did, and that carries over. And when he does something in life, that's the way he's going to be. Obviously, a great ambassador for our program, who's now a national and worldwide ambassador, is Bijan Robinson. You know, Bijan has played with us since he was a younger kid, preteen, and Bijan, just the way he carries himself is just so classy. He's that kid where you go, man, emulate that kid.
So are you talking about Robinson, one of the front runners for Heisman at Texas?
That would be the one. That'd be the one. Yeah,
and
Bijan
he played for your program.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, he did. There's probably one of these balls back here. He helped us get that ball. A lot of these things you see, these are all memories. I mean, Bijan's played in Roswell, as I don't know if I mentioned Roswell, but the Roswell flag football tournaments and the national pylons and the red zones. I mean, these are kids. Lathan Ransom's at Ohio State. I've got several kids that are at NAU just killing it. All-American up there. Hendricks Johnson. I mean, Coleman Owen. These are great kids. Like, I care that Bijan is a Heisman front runner. Okay, right. I care about that. I think it's great. What I want people to know is he's a great person. Diego Miranda is not playing ball anymore. BJ McDaniel is not playing ball anymore. But these are great kids that are now doing great things in life outside of football. Some of them, this is what we preach, at some point the game's going to end, and what are you going to do next? Are you going to take these values? Like we always teach good habits. Everything we do, you practice good habits. Every day you practice good habits. So when you're prepared for those adversity moments, right? And it's getting adverse out there, you're prepared to make good choices, make good habits. You know, we practice attitude and effort. When these kids go out to college, when we're not around, Are they practicing that? You have a good attitude every day? You're giving your best effort. It's all anybody can ask. These are the things that we hope resonate throughout their life. So I have kids that are now at the highest level of football, but I also have 21, 22, 23-year-old kids that are managing Walmarts, managing 300 adults, and they're practicing the things that were taught between the lines.
So just basic hearing from what you're saying, so it's safe for me to assume that even if a kid comes through the program of Tucson Turf, even afterwards, you guys still keep some kind of relationship.
Absolutely. We're all with the kids. One of the coolest things I can tell you, and any young coach out there that's listening, these trophies, all these memories that we've made on the field are great, but possibly the best memories that are as great as any of those is on Christmas breaks. And it just happened the last few years because the kids that I've coached are just now getting into college. When the kids come home, I call them kids, they're young men. These are 20-something-year-old young men coming home from college break. They come to the house. Like they call, they get a hold of my kids, they get a hold of me. And a lot of them text all the time, just stay. I try to reach out. And these kids are, we have 30-something kids playing on Saturdays right now. So I text, make sure, hey, good luck, keep it classy. Those are some of the things I tell them. Go represent. Those are big words in our vocabulary. But when they come to the house and make it a point, they have very limited time. When Bajan is in town, Bajan's right here on this couch you're sitting on, man. Because we're family. Like we are. We're truly family. Like people say that, they put it on their shirts and stuff, but truly we are. It's awesome. And the parents, the memories we've made, some of the best friends I have in life, man, we've made through actual football, flag football, 7-on-7. It's wonderful, man.
And I can tell that even at tournaments I've been to, you can tell when you walk through the gate when Tucson Turf is there. Just, you can see the tents, you can see the flags, and you can just see a lot of times where when you see a group of people, parents, families, most likely that's Tucson Turf. A lot of time when you see other teams in the organization, not saying that they're not a family, but you may see some over here, some over there, some over there. One thing I did personally notice that when you do see Tucson Turf, no matter from little to older, they're all going to be in one section representing as a family. And then that's something I noticed, so that's pretty cool.
That's Ruben. That's funny you mentioned that because that's one of a program's success is not going to be solely based on the kids on the field. Obviously, there's a lot of variables. One of the most important variables and directors and coaches need to realize is making sure that you're transparent with the parents. It can't be talking to the kids and keeping the parents on the outside. We make sure we're talking to the parents and include them in conversations about what we expect on game days. We take food. Food is for everybody. I say it's like going to a picnic, but you bring extra food because I don't want any kid ever that's maybe not there with their parents to be hungry or thirsty and be uncomfortable. So you bring and you offer and we treat each of these kids, whether you know them or not, you treat them like they're part of the family. And that's what we do. And if the little kids are playing, the big kids are supporting. If the big kids are playing, little kids are watching with the biggest eyes. They're just, I can't wait to wear that uniform. That is really, really that's a really neat thing. And for me, I'm at a point in, my young career that I get to sit back and I really enjoy observing the whole thing. I enjoy, you got my oldest kids are getting, they're interviewing and stuff with people, and the younger kids are watching them. And it's just a revelation of things that are happening. And I can remember where it just started, just the other day. And to see it go full circle, it's really a neat experience, man. For me personally, and I know a lot of people involved.
Right, pretty dope. So I got one last question, and I'm going to kind of put you on Front Street with this a little bit. So you say you are a national team, correct? So when I hear a lot of 7-on-7 teams and they're talking about national teams, I hear names like Louisiana Bootleggers, I hear Premium, I hear FSP. A lot of those guys claim that they're the national champions. So
of course.
I would say going into this year, who do you feel like is any competition out there for Tucson Turf? Do you feel is like we have to go to this tournament because we want to see those guys? Like, explain to me, who do you consider some of the top 7-on-7 organizations in the country, and who are some that you just always enjoy playing against?
Well, I come from a background of wrestling. Okay, that's my background. I did the stuff we're doing as an organization in wrestling. Me, it's not not a wrestling team, but me personally. So I love being the underdog, and I love to compete at a very, very high level. So I can't float as an underdog anymore. That doesn't work anymore. But I love big games. I love, as a quarterback, nothing's better than being in a huddle with a minute left with the ball in my hands, being down a point. I love it myself. I love coaching those situations. I don't want a 40-0 win. I love great games because it brings out the best in you, right? It exposes. Whatever, it's going to expose something. You either got it or you don't have it. It's period. But something's going to be exposed. So, we play Louisiana bootleggers. Immortals out there in Florida, my guys from Florida. We've had these great rivalries, high intensity out in San Diego, FSP in Florida, premiums in California. We don't see a lot of premium through the years. Boom, we see every now and again. True Buzz, right, out of Texas. The thing I will say is that the relationship we have, we compete hard, but we're also, and I could call them right now. I get on my phone, like I was talking to a coach earlier, that college coach. I can call any of the guys. I can call Tracy right now, Tracy Ford, FSP. Tracy, my kid really needs a home. Here's what Tracy will do what he can for me. True Buzz, I can call him right now. Hey, can you help me with somebody in Texas? Miami, right? Call Rudy, call these guys, and it's just a big fraternity of people that have put their heads together and go, look, it's more than the game. We're helping these kids. And people that claim that, but they still run around and try to find chinks in my armor or make it personal, like it's about me, or it's about OTB or the unit or any of these teams. It's neat at a national level. I feel there's such a large group of respectful individuals who are involved. It makes me real proud to be a member of that. I wish, as it gets closer to home, I wish people would understand that, because it seems like the more intense rivalries are the ones that are in the same zip code or the same city or the same state. And it doesn't, I really feel like, that takes away from what we should be trying to do. I've told Jason this for years, is I'd love to use this as a networking for these kids for the future. Because the guy you could be playing with today on 7-on-7 could be your roommate in 2 years, right? So instead of making it all about this big rivalry in your head and getting these kids all amped up, she'd be like, hey, we're gonna get good work today. We're gonna go play OTB. We're gonna go play whoever it may be is lined up against you. We're gonna play a great game. Let's go compete. But make sure these dudes know that at the end of the day, man, you might end up on the same sideline with these guys, or at the same convention. You'll be running rec centers one day when you're 40. Who knows what you're going to do? But making those relationships, using this game to build your future, right? That's the big picture. And I don't want to make it about trophies and about tournaments, but I want to make it about big picture and helping these kids realize the big picture. So,
oh man, that's
I know that's deep, man. I know I get into when I answer questions, but as far as rivals and all this national level stuff, I can tell you with full confidence that our team last year, no offense to any team that I've coached, but I can sincerely say that is as good a group. When we were all there, now granted, we were only there as a team probably less than half the tournaments we played as our group, because everybody's got stuff, right? They've got visits. So it is what it is. We understand. They have school stuff. That comes before 7-on-7. There's school stuff. But when we played as a collective group last year, on paper, and they saw it. Bootleggers saw it when they came to Arizona and played the full squad. I mean, we were able to really, really play a great game against them, and they're a great organization. But we had a great group last year. And this year, although we lose a quarterback, and that's a really important thing, I think we're going to pick up right where we left off. I expect us to really, really compete at a high level this year. I could do a politically correct answer, and then I could go crazy and do some non-political. But we're going to bring it. We look forward to it. It's going to make a bunch of good memories, and our younger teams are excited, chomping at the bit. There's more excitement this year than ever before. More excitement, more people calling and filling out their contact forms online. People want to be a part of it. That's due to Red Zone. Arizona, they're doing it as good as anybody in the country. I know, I'm everywhere. They do a great job. And then Battle is now really stepping up and setting the standard out there nationally. So yeah, man, it's great.
Man, pretty dope. So, in closing, if they had anyone else, since you kind of birthed it, especially from Arizona, when it comes to the flag and 7-on-7, we're noticing that a lot of organizations are coming up here 1 or 2 years, and then they're not here no more, or they're doing this and things like that. If you had a couple words of advice for someone that's really looking to get in an organization, saying that, like you said, it's about the kids. And a lot of time, we think that a lot of people get into this industry for on their own personal agendas or objectives, and it ends up hurting the kids sometimes. So if they do have some people out there that's looking at starting their own organization and kind of want to mimic something that Tucson Turf does, can you tell us a couple words of advice that you can share with those people?
For sure. One of the first things I tell folks, they call from all over the nation and have questions, and this is nothing to do with money. Like Tucson Turf, our organization is a football organization. We are a nonprofit. We're Life Athletics. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Okay, we raise money and we help kids make memories. Period. So I don't do it to chase dollars. I work a real, I have a business and work a real job. That's what I do for money. That's what, got to feed the family. And over here in this lane, I do this because it's what I enjoy. It's what I'm passionate about. Okay, besides being a father and a husband, this is what I'm really passionate about. So making sure that the passion is driven by the right thing. If you're driven by money, then you have a different agenda, and more power to you. I understand that deal. Like we have now, we're going to implement training as part of our program with a trainer, a certified trainer here in Tucson that's going to help train the kids outside of what we do, outside of what the school does. But that's a different deal. So make sure you're chasing the right things with the right passion behind you. And just, it seems kind of simple, but make sure it's about having a good time. I tell kids, football is a game. Like when you really strip everything back, what is football? Football is, hey, what do you guys want to do? Let's go play football. Football is a game. It's meant to have fun. But parents and coaches and all the other adults involved in the thing, they strip all that away, and you're left with this super competitive atmosphere that it's almost like you have to have security to play off-season football. That kind of, it's very disappointing. It's sad because you lose the essence of the game. That's supposed to be fun. So, and a lot of coaches will tell me, this ain't about fun. We're out here to, they say the darndest things. I'm like, oh my gosh, this dude talking about like killing people and stuff. I'm like, man. Like really, because we'll leave right now. It's not about that. Right. I'm not. If you want to be tough, go. I will get you the numbers of cage fighters. I've told people this my whole life. Like they want to get off. I'm like, bro, it ain't about that. Like you think you're real tough. I've always said they should have a men's tournament with a UFC cage on the side, and that's the penalty box. You want to fight somebody? Hey, I'm gonna get down right now. Cool. You're the one you're the tough dude. Go in there for 2 minutes with the cage fighter, and just have cage fighters sitting in there waiting. Because I assure you, the dudes that are on the football field with cleats on and their mouthpiece and they're talking all this, at the end of the day, it's not about that. Like, can I protect myself? Sure. But I'm not at a flag football tournament to fight anybody or be on YouTube. Like, it's not about that. Right. So I just think, keep it fun, man. Compete. Right. Keep it fun. Keep it real for kids. Don't sell them on a dream that's not realistic. That's not fair to the kids, not fair for the parents. Too many parents do that. Too many coaches do that. I tell a kid every day of the week, listen, let's be real. You don't want to hear this, but be real and be real with them, and they'll appreciate that. At the end of the day, they'll appreciate that.
Oh, man, that's pretty deep, man. Well, man, I want to thank you again for inviting me here in Tucson, man. We're definitely going to want to follow you guys sometime this year. Maybe we can travel with you guys, kind of get some behind the scenes of Tucson Turf when you guys travel. We'll love to get some behind the scenes with some of those big time matchups, like you said, with the Turfs and with the bootleggers and different things like that, man. So once again, thank you so much for meeting with us today, and look forward to talking to you again pretty soon.
Appreciate it, Ruben. All the players that I didn't mention, hey, I love all you guys. You're all as important as our Heisman hopeful. Just know that everybody's a spoke in the wheel through the years, man, and we couldn't roll on it without everybody. So. That's important, man. All the kids know that. I love them all, man.
All right, man. It's Coach Ruben with 24/7 Podcast, and we're out.